Charleston, South Carolina was the venue for last weekend's 2015 Rugby World Cup qualifier between the USA and Canada. The aggregate winners over 2 legs will gain automatic qualification. The USA's record over their neighbours has been disappointing in recent years. They've lost their last 5 matches and their last victory was 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2009, we were actually pretty confident going into those games. We had a good squad. We had home and away matches. We played, one here in America, which we won, 12-6. And going into the game against Canada, we knew it was going to be tough. And we made it even tougher on ourselves with our ill discipline. We had a red card within the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, which just proved to us it was a bit too much to bounce back from, and we ended up losing on points difference.
I think we need to turn it around. We've had a couple of close ones the last few, a couple of mistakes cost us late, but we just need to turn that around and get back to a point we were years ago, where we were doing pretty well against Canada. So it's just turning the program around and eliminating the things that are costing us wins.
Despite those 2 defeats in 2009, the US went on to qualify for the 2011 World Cup after beating Uruguay and proved competitive in their pool matches, beating Russia in the process.
2 World Cups I've been to have just been absolutely amazing. It's second to nothing, really. In terms of your sport, it's everything you aspire to do, and the pinnacle of certainly of my career. The first one I was a bit young in 2007 in France, and it was actually my first game that I ever dressed for the Eagles was against England, defending World Cup champions at the time. And so it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, and then different the second time around. After having been there once, I said, this is absolutely awesome. This is what I want to do. And I made it a point to make sure that if I was healthy and playing well, that I would put my hand up to go to as many as I could.
Earlier this year, the US, along with Canada, took part in a newly expanded Pacific Nations Cup, bringing them into contact with the likes of Samoa, Tonga and Fiji, all teams above them in the world rankings.
It's really critical because you don't get better by playing teams that are well below you. And I think, number one, it's important to establish a winning culture. And I think we did with some of those teams who were even to us. And now we're playing teams that are just above us. And so it's given us that chance to compete. But it's really putting a challenge in front of us if we want to win those games.
Last year we had Italy, and we almost filled a whole stadium. This year we had Ireland, and we did fill that whole stadium. And it seems like, talking to the players on those teams, that they enjoyed coming over. Later in the year, we're having New Zealand Maori come over. Rugby's growing massively in this country, and the growth of the youth of rugby is coming up is so fast, and we're just trying to keep up, and we're trying to showcase what's the best and the highest level of rugby, and give them something to strive for and want to be part of.
I think we want to establish, youth rugby is really important at the grassroots. There's a lot of mini rugby going on now. There's certainly a lot of schoolboy rugby and university. So a lot of people are playing the game. I think what we need to do now is develop good coaching for all these young players that we're getting out playing the game, and in pathways where they can move up, and elite players can have a pathway to move into the representative teams.
Going into this Canada match, it would mean everything for the boys and the program of just knowing that we're qualified for the World Cup, we're able to take our next step, and then start preparing to peak at the right time. If we're not able to qualify this time, it just sets back the next steps of our journey for the World Cup.
And England 2015 seems that much further away for the Eagles, following last week's 27-9 loss in the first leg. Phil Mack set Canada on their way, and at half-time, with James Pritchard adding 2 penalties, they led 13-0. A Chris Wiles penalty early in the second half offered a glimmer of hope for the US, but tries from Harry Jones and DTH van der Merwe have put Canada one step closer to automatic qualification and a place alongside France, Ireland and Italy in 2 years' time. Wales added 2 late penalties for the Eagles, but they begin this week's second leg in Toronto with an 18-point deficit. If they can't overhaul the Canadians, they'll be faced with a 2-leg playoff against Uruguay. And we'll have a report from Toronto in next week's show.